87% of real estate agents said this is how they spend Mondays. I don't know if it's 87%. I think that's our attrition rate, but hey, it's a weird correlation. They spent their time running errands. On the day that I think moves your business forward the most, when people are in decision-making mode, when people are feeling motivated, agents are out running errands. We're not going to do that today. We are going to move the needle first today. Patience is everything in this business. Patience is everything in everything. And if you coach agents or you run a team, you know that the balance between explaining to them that you have to have patience, or explaining to yourself that you have to have patience, but also do all the things, is a really, really, really hard juxtaposition of two concepts that seem to not go well together. Have patience, but do all the things. In fact, what we normally do is we combine these two things into a word called consistency, right? Taking consistent action is way better than anything else you can do in your business. But I do think patience is an important thing to understand. It's an important thing to respect. But what we're going to challenge you is how to do all the things and live in that patience, because a lot of you may be in seasons where you need patience. Let me give you a mindset hack. I do realize I'm missing my T, so that you can do all these things without burnout, without disappointment, building longevity in a business that requires marathon style mindset. And that is this principle. You are always taking in data. I'll probably say data at some point, but today, right now, I'm going to try to stick with data. I'll be consistent. You are always taking in data. This is how high achievers do what they do, because every single day, every single action, we know we're collecting data and we're growing our knowledge base. This is powerful because this doesn't require us to have to be in specific trainings at this time or this time or this time in our industry to be moving the needle forward on what we know to be true, and to be gaining more and more information, which is what I believe keeps that attrition rate lower for agents that recognize and will live by this mindset. We have so many agents, and you guys see it a lot of times with newer agents. They feel like they have to have it all understood. They got to have it all set up. They need to know every single thing about every single thing before they'll go have their first conversation. And we know that they'll always miss it. And I think this is why the attrition rate is so high, because all of us sitting on this call that have been in business long enough know that there's never coming a day where we have figured it all out. We are just data collectors every single day, and we start putting that data into trends to start moving our business forward. How does understanding this teach patience? Because we understand that we are not stuck. I'm not stuck. I'm just being trained. If a contract cancels, I don't have a mindset of, well, that was all for nothing. Or if a seller or a buyer refuses to sign a long-term buyer agency agreement with me, they would only sign single properties, and now they're going to go off and work with someone else. Not that that ever happens, right? But if that happens, I don't feel stuck. I get to look back and say, okay, what were the things that were missed? What would I do differently next time? I never get to an outcome that doesn't go my way and say, that was for a waste. What a waste. You'll never hear me say that, because what you're receiving in that moment is training. Do sometimes I want to be relatable and say, that sucks. They're dumb for not using you. Absolutely. But you know what my heart's really saying? What did we miss? What could we have done better? This is really, truly how elite agents and entrepreneurs think. We don't just do the work, we study the work. You're doing two jobs at the exact same time, because we know that experience is valuable. But this is what I want to really challenge you to do today. I want you to reflect that experience. This is where a lot of agents miss it. Some of you are baby agents and you haven't understood the value of the receiving of data, the sorting of data, and putting all those pieces together. Okay. So the first step is understanding that data is so important, that you're gathering it every single day that you're in the field, every single day that you are out there doing what you do. Once you master that and you start realizing that everything you're doing is training you, it's making you better. The third level, and where I really want to spend our time today, is teaching you to know how to reflect that experience, because that is actually transformational. And we're going to talk about momentum versus acceleration. Reflected experience is transformational. So what we're looking for now, and I say this all the time, we are paid based on the value that we put into the marketplace. Taking the knowledge, taking the data points, taking the experiences, and being able to communicate those and tie them to what we've learned and tie them to data is going to change your business forever. So me and chat this morning, actually last night, came up with 7 prompts. I'm challenging my team to use these today and this week. I would challenge you to do the same. We are going to give you a couple of prompts that will help you use this reflected experience, right? So what did I learn from a recent deal that didn't go the way I expected? Our team lost, I think, 2 or 3 contracts last week. We asked the question, we're data collecting. Where did it go off track? What could I have done differently? That's where a lot of agents will stop. They'll say, oh, well, I should have made sure that they understood these HOA dues better, or I should have made sure that they had a better grasp on, what inspections we're going to look at, whatever it may be. Fine. That's all your data collection. That's all valuable. But here's where we miss it. We don't take that information to the general public. And I'm not saying you go turn your buyer or seller into a publicly ridiculed person because of a decision they made. But I am saying that you take the data and you say, hey, this is something that I wish every buyer knew before going under contract on a house, or I wish this is something every seller knew before listing a house. You take that information, you put it out in a generic post that allows other people to learn from some of the deals that did not go the way you thought. What questions am I hearing repeatedly from clients lately? What does this teach you about the psychology of where they are? And then I would ask, are your systems and processes up that they are handling these questions proactively? And this is a great place to turn around and say, hey, here are the top 3 buyer fears we're hearing right now. Here's how I'm helping them navigate. Prompt 3, what mistake did I make this month that taught me something valuable? Put your hand in the air literally right now if you made a mistake this month. Oh my gosh, if I had 8 hands or 12 hands or maybe more than that, probably a mistake a day for me. I tell people I don't want to be led by anyone who thinks that they don't make mistakes. I want to be led by failures because mistakes are where we learn. We learn faster through mistakes and through errors and through failure than we do and when things go the right way. So what was the lesson? What systems or mindset shift could prevent it from happening again? And I think this is probably the most valuable prompt I've given you. Turn it into a vulnerability plus a value story. A tough moment that made me a better agent. Prompt 4, what small success did I overlook this week? Where did you have a win? Where did you have a little win that changed something for the better? What created that success, or who created that success? And how can I build on that momentum? That's a really good behind the scenes post. What's a client success story that reflects how I've grown as an agent? We have a couple of agents right now that are under contract on their personal homes. I said, you should be sharing this story. Absolutely. What role did I play in their result? What feedback did they give me? Give it a mini case study. I'm going to do this one today so you can see an example of this on my social media today. What part of my daily routine keeps showing up as either a pain point or a productivity booster? Mine is this. I'm at the tail end of it, but my 5 to 7 work block on Monday morning has changed my life. Share that into a post, into an insight. And what's a market trend I've noticed? Our partner, Ashley Bomarito, called last night and said, what did your listings do this weekend? How were your open houses? Share with me all of your data. I need some talking points to take to my seller. It's the ultimate example of reflective information and reflective data sharing. She came to me to get the data that she needed to help to understand what that meant for her people and for their position in the market. And then she was creating talk tracks. She was creating scripts to take back to her sellers, to communicate, to reflect that data point to them so that it would move the needle forward in her business. We often think that patience means that you have to just sit still. I think as entrepreneurs, we know that's not true. Most of us don't sit still well. I think that patience is learning while you wait. And when you have the learning and the patience combination, that's where your momentum is going to come from. But I challenge that most of us are not just looking for momentum. We're looking for something more sustainable. We're looking for acceleration, right? Momentum is I think about the roller coaster, you chugged up the hill and you took kind of the residual. Acceleration is where we actually have something pushing us along, and that's the reflection of the data. That is where you learn how to share this information with your world. Stagnation, sitting in inaction, is not the same as stillness. I believe that with acceleration, you can allow yourself more moments of stillness that can continue to keep that burnout rate low, which is so important in our industry. So knowing that patience is not endurance, it's preparation. I hope this was valuable. I hope you can go apply this. I would love to see you tag Agents Empowered or me or Al in your posts that talk about your reflective data sharing. put the value in the marketplace. That is how we get paid. That will take the lid right off of your income for the year. And I can't wait to be a part of it. Hope you guys all